Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrack. Huge shout out to all the iTrack fan, man. Tapping in like you always do. We are on that Monday flow. And you know what? I'm going to make up for Sunday. So today, we're going to do a brand new episode on the front. And we're going to do a classic on the back for all the brand new members, all the brand new fam that just tapped in, man. This one is for you. And if this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy TikToks and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. Now, let's not even waste any more time. Let's jump right into it.
4 Chinese researchers from the School of Computer Science at the Fudan University in Shanghai, China, have published a paper titled Frontier AI Systems Have Surpassed the Self-Replicating Red Line.
Oh, whoa. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Their well-written 47-page paper, which I've linked to in the show notes, details exactly what they did and how. But here's the overview of their research from their paper's abstract, where they write, successful self-replication under no human assistance is the essential step for AI to outsmart the human beings.
Oy, caramba.
And is an early signal for rogue AIs. That is why self-replication is widely recognized as one of the few red line risks of frontier AI systems. Nowadays, the leading AI corporations, OpenAI and Google, evaluate their flagship large language models, GPT-o1 and Gemini Pro 1.0, and report the lowest risk level of self-replication.
In case you weren't in the know, that is definitely cause for concern. We're talking about intelligent AI replicating itself. You won't hear it on mainstream news, but you'll definitely catch it here.
Okay, so physics just confirmed something that sounds completely insane, but time mirrors are real. We're not talking about regular mirrors that reflect your image. We're talking about temporal mirrors, where a wave doesn't just bounce off and go backwards in space. It literally retraces its path back through time. Scientists have changed the electromagnetic field of a material so fast it made waves go backward in time, like rewinding reality, like pressing undo on the universe. This isn't sci-fi anymore. This is real. This is experimental physics catching up to what mystics, mushrooms, and mad geniuses have been saying for decades. Time is not a line. It's a wave. And baby, we are just learning to surf it.
In the 1970s, the CIA launched a classified project called MK Often. It was a sister project to MK Ultra, but instead of testing LSD on civilians, it went a little darker. MK Ultra focused on how to break the mind. MK Often focused on what happens when you get at chaos. According to declassified reports, the CIA worked with clairvoyants, astrologers, demonologists, and even practicing witches. The goal was to study the behavioral and psychological effects of the paranormal. There were reports of animal sacrifice, ritualistic behavior, and experiments of drugs that have never been publicly named. So people believe that MK Often was the CIA's attempt to weaponize belief itself. Basically to see if fear and faith and belief would alter someone's decision under pressure. Dr. Sidney Godolov, that did most of the work on MK Ultra, he says that this wasn't fringe stuff, that this was stuff that was run out of prestigious academic institutions. Like I said, most classified stuff, a lot of classified information or stuff that we don't have access to still today comes out of prestigious universities. It's not always government. A lot of times it's scientists. The project ended in the late 1970s and most of the information about it never surfaced. And it wasn't because the program was ineffective. It was because the program was too disturbing. Accounts suggest that they were summoning or communicating with non-human entities. Again, what does that mean? So when I'm reading this report, all I want to know is, what the hell did they see? So at this point, I don't know, you tell me, what does non-human entities mean?
And that's a fact. I mean, if you've been watching my channel long enough, you know that a lot of privately owned companies have reverse engineered a lot of the real UAPs and are using the technology for themselves.
First, this looks like a simple accident, but if you take a closer look, something chilling becomes apparent. After the man falls into the grave, you can see what looks like a hand grab him on the shoulder, pulling him downwards. When this footage hit the internet, it sparked immediate debate.
I think mirrors are low-key creepy. You are not alone in that fear. Around the world, for thousands of years, people have been terrified of mirrors, not because of how they reflect you, but what might be looking back at you. Have you ever seen a mirror covered after someone passes away? Yeah, it's so that their soul doesn't get trapped in the mirror. Certain religions do that. Feng Shui says never put a mirror at the end of your bed because your soul might get confused while you're asleep and wind up in the mirror. In ancient Greece, they used to use mirrors to contact the dead, and sometimes the dead spoke back. And that brings us to the demon mirror. The mirror so terrifying that the Vatican has to keep it locked underground in the secret archive. The demon mirror is claimed to be carved from obsidian, which is a volcanic rock that the Aztecs used to use to summon their god. The gag with the demon mirror is it doesn't summon anything, it shows you your death, or worse, it shows you your shadow self. They say this mirror whispers in Latin, cracks during blessings, and then heals itself overnight. One priest decided he was going to be Billy Badass and stand in front of the mirror alone. He left the room with his eyes bleeding, mumbling, "It knows my name," and he was never the same. The Vatican classifies the demon mirror as a class 3 infernal object, and it's in a lead-lined vault with constant supervision. Why? Not because it's haunted or possessed, but because it's waiting. What the hell is it waiting on? The church says there might be a twin out there, and if these two mirrors link up, it is quite literally the apocalypse. Here's the thing, black obsidian mirrors are actually not that uncommon. They're used as scries all the time, but there's certain mirrors out there, like the one that John Dee used, the Vatican's keeping a close eye on, but that's not it. Inside the Vatican archives, there's also a crucifix that bleeds during solar eclipses, but we can talk about that another time.
Okay, someone's getting executed. North Korea just tried to launch their brand new 5,000-ton warship, which is meant to be the pride and joy of its navy. But instead of a spectacular launch, the ship capsized halfway through the reveal right in front of Kim Jong-un. They tried sliding the ship into the water, but it got caught under its own weight and started sinking. And this whole thing was being broadcasted to the entire world. So he got so embarrassed and said this was a criminal act by his naval engineers and they would be punished. In other words, $500 million sank underwater in front of the dictator for the entire world to see.
Those engineers probably had one of the worst days of 2025 so far. That might just take the cake. Let me know what you think.
Whoa. That's crazy.
What is that? We're in Los Angeles. Anyone know what this is? I think that's a comet.
Beautiful. Oh, whoa.
We've received a lot of calls within the last 20 minutes about a bright light streaking across the sky. Well, we saw it too. It was a SpaceX Dragon cargo ship returning from the International Space Station, and it caused a potential sonic boom. Our Eyewitness News videographer captured this stunning video from the roof of our studios here in Glendale. The capsule splashing down off our coast about 25 miles west of Camp Pendleton. It was visible to the naked eye for hundreds of miles around our area. We're also getting a lot of those calls into our newsroom from people saying they heard a sonic boom, likely as it re-entered the atmosphere.
Okay, new animal update just came out, so I'm going to run through all of these quickly. I'll briefly say what they are and then move on. Lego. Stonefly larva. Next. That's not real, it's CGI. Next. Maned wolf. Next. What the? Puss caterpillar, also called a southern flannel moth caterpillar. As a reminder, those bristles are venomous, so no touchy. Next.
Let me get that butt, boy. Ooh.
Oh, shit! Another caterpillar, curved tooth geometer, and that's all of them. Hope that helps.
Hey, Andrew. So, what is the Black Eye Club? It is literally and figuratively one of the darkest things I've ever researched. Take almost any celebrity, politician, religious leader, many CEOs. Guess what? They're part of the Black Eye Club, and there's photographs of them. They almost proudly pose for them. And it begs the question, who is punching them? You know, that's what all the memes say, right? Well, nobody's punching them. Not exactly. What do they have in common? 3 things. One is they're all respected members of the community for which they serve. 2, it's always the left eye, which is blackened. And 3, they almost always say, you know, I fell. I was walking down the stairs, I hit my head on the banister. Jay Leno's on video. His whole left eye, his whole left side of his face is black and blue. And he has fallen down a hill, he claims. What's going on is something called soul scalping. And this is where a draconian, viril powered parasite, a reptilian, comes in through the left eye and within 2 weeks kills the soul of the person it's inhabited, but takes over their memories and their consciousness. And it appears as though these people are not going through an initiation. They're not being punished for anything, but they're notables and people of influence. Now, we don't know this, but I'm just surmising why these individuals would have the black eye, why they would have the reptilian consciousness. And that's because they're people of influence. And that would be of interest to the race who really is our masters. Now, we think we're top of the food chain. We eat cows, we eat fish and cows eat other things, et cetera, et cetera. There's a pyramid of who's on top of what food chain. Well, what if we're not on top of the food chain? The thing about the Black Eye Club and this reptilian incursion through the eye.
I definitely have a few videos that speak on the real. It looks kind of like a reptilian worm. It's pretty creepy. So him connecting them dots, man, you know, do your homework.
An urgent warning to all 1.8 billion iPhone users. You need to turn off this auto feature now because hackers can hijack your iPhone, Mac, or even your car through Apple's AirPlay, thanks to a devastating set of flaws dubbed Airborne. The team at Olingo Security discovered 23 vulnerabilities in AirPlay, which allows users to stream audio, video, and photos from Apple devices to other smart devices. So what are they asking you to do? Well, they're asking you to go into settings, then search for AirPlay, then click on AirPlay, and then you'll click on automatic settings. Click on either ask, which will ask you every time someone wants to use AirPlay with you, or never. Never click on automatic because this is the vulnerability. That basically means you're handing your data and everything on your phone to other scammers. So please don't ever have it on automatic. Always on ask or never. I have mine on ask, but it's up to you. Also, make sure you are downloading the latest software update because it always has the latest security patches on it, so your device is then up to date. So change this setting and make sure you're on the latest iOS or macOS software, and you should be okay. Please like and share the video, help spread the word. And for more helpful videos, smash that follow button. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
For all my iPhone users, this one's definitely for you, because if you knew better, you definitely do better.
You hear how Elon has a patent on
telepathy and telekinesis. He just filed a patent with Neuralink.
Could it be that Elon has some sort of supercomputer that can solve basically any equation? It sounds like AI is solving pretty much everything.
Well, here's the thing too. You file a patent for those things. That means not only you have it, you're gonna use it for your products, right? So like Neuralink, he's putting chips in brains. Obviously, that means you're moving stuff with your mind, reading minds. So he's filing a patent for that. because he's already successfully done it. Because why else would you file a patent for it? Damn. When it comes to AI and everything else, this is why even X, he sold X to his AI company. He sold X to himself. So his AI company now owns X.
Get the fuck. Robots are now building themselves. We're building thousands of robots a day. So what is he building robots for?
I'll tell you why. The reason he's building robots is because, again, he has an AI of his own, Grok. Where do you think Grok is going to be placed next?
In the robots.
In the robots.
Robots taking over the world? The online community certainly thinks so. The dead internet theory is from 2021. Online theorists believe that the internet actually died in 2016. The theory suggests that the internet as we know it is mostly made up of AI bots. The resurgence of this theory all started with Shrimp Jesus. It's the infamous AI-generated Facebook image of Shrimp Jesus and other similar concepts floating around the internet. This old conspiracy is sweeping discussions among online creators and has even found a home on multiple Reddit threads. According to Imperva's 2024 Bad Bot report, nearly half of all internet traffic came from bots in 2023. That report also showed that the rapid adoption of generative AI and other large language models has increased the number of simple bots. With the rapid growth of generative AI, we're naturally seeing a rise of bots in online spaces. Robots taking over the world seems rather grim, but thankfully, we're not there yet, right?
Why call it Stargate?
It began as a code name, and sometimes code names stick.
But it means something, right?
The design of one of the very early layouts of a data center looked a little bit like Stargate from the show.
How did you get to talking with Masayoshi Son and Larry Ellison, and how did you all come together?
I did 2 kind of long trips around the world, and a lot of it was to talk to developers and governments, but a lot of it was also to just really try to get my head around the supply chain. On one of those trips, I met with Masa, and we got to speaking about, what it would take to do compute at this kind of scale.
Hi, Masa. It's so nice to see you. What conversations did you have with Sam that led to Stargate?
Well, we have a shared vision of AGI coming soon, and we need compute.
Of all the bets you could make, why this? Why Stargate?
Well, I believe in the vision that this AI, the AGI, will change the mankind's life in every aspect. And we are lucky to see this enormous revolution, and I'd like to be part of that. I get excited. Last month, I came to celebrate your winning and promised that we will invest $100 billion. And you told me, oh, Masa, go for 200. Yeah. Now I came back with 500.
Explain the math to us. How does it all add up to needing $500 billion?
Well, that covers the capacity we think we need for the next few years, given our growth projections. The interesting question is if we knew how to get $1 trillion right now, which we don't, would we be able to deploy that profitably in the next few years? And I'm not sure about that, but I feel confident we can make 500 billion of value back.
So you're telling me these reels that people scroll got people reeled in, and TikTok is taking people's time? And then I was like, wait a minute, algorithms got people hypnotized, and rhythm also happens to be the oldest form of inducing a trance. This is shamanism. Rhythmic breathing while drumming puts you in a trance. But there's no etymological ties between algorithm and rhythm. An algorithm is a set of sequences that dictate behavior. But wait a minute, rhythm is a set of sequences that influence behavior. So what's really going on? Are these things being channeled from somewhere, a different level of reality, almost like spirits? Are spirits just symbols? Is Jesus just a symbol? Is Buddha just a symbol? Or is that just half the truth? Well, tell a vision, you stare into a black mirror and it tells you a vision. Your phone is a black mirror, and black mirrors are used by witches to scry and channel spirits. What's really going on? Spelling, casting spells, grammar, grimoire? Is this half the truth or just coincidence? What's happening?
Yeah, he was cooking. He was definitely cooking, but it might have some of you on a slow cook, though. You know what I mean? Because there was a lot of information going on.
Take a look at some tape of some other members of the Sasquatch family, and you can tell us what we're looking at. So this is Kubota. He's an elder. And the evidence to substantiate this footage is real is absolutely incredible.
Now that is some of the clearest footage of a Sasquatch that I've ever seen. But I'm not too sure, if that's fact or cap. So definitely weigh in. Let me know what you think. Opinions are definitely needed at this point.
Strange theories you've never heard of. Guys, some of the topics on this chart are extremely deranged the further down you go. But we'll start off with volcanoes' real purpose. This is the idea that all volcanoes on Earth are just remnants of old power plants, and that human civilization have gone through multiple cycles of great extinction events. And so these power plants have melted down, and that's why they are now just volcanoes. The phone mafia is just the idea that all the scam callers that you get and receive are all part of a large mafia syndicate that's goal is to steal your information and sell it, which I feel like is closer to the truth than a lot of these other ones. Pancreas denial. This is the theory that the pancreas that you have in your body is more than just a physical organ, but rather your body's third chakra, and that it's responsible for the filtering out of negative energy. However, the government purposefully exposes us to a lot of negative energy to weaken its ability to block bad stuff, and so this leaves the general public vulnerable to the negativity that the pancreas would normally be able to keep away from us. So the pancreas is being denied its normal function. Moon soul catcher. This is just the idea that the moon is a giant soul catcher, and that there was a soul catcher placed on the moon before the age of man by these celestial beings that were benevolent entities that wanted to protect humanity. And so at the end of your life, they catch your soul with this giant catcher and then reincarnate it into a body of a newborn baby. And like, even if you experience like a near-death experience, your soul gets caught by the moon and then returned to your body if it's not beyond repair. Paleolithic deep state. First of all, the deep state is the idea that there are these secret groups of people controlling the entire world with secret agendas. Paleolithic deep state is the idea that there is this group that has existed since ancient prehistoric times, and they are these creatures that have evolved alongside humans to secretly push their agendas despite having complete power over the entire world. Nano UFOs and giga UFOs. This is the idea that UFOs can come in different sizes and forms. For example, there can be microscopic UFOs that can exist in like substances that we eat or even in our bloodstream. But then there's also gigantic UFOs that are supernaturally massive and could exist in things like clouds, or they could be stars, or even like cover up the entire sky of the planet. Phantom time hypothesis. This is a pseudo-historical conspiracy theory that claims that nearly 300 years of our Earth's history was made up. So basically, this theory says that 600 to 900 AD didn't exist, and that the Middle Ages never happened because the medieval elite fabricated those years to justify their ascension to power. And because of this, all the history that we know is false. But there's overwhelming evidence that those time periods happened, but I still think it's a cool theory. Nukes weren't made for humans, so this is the theory that nuclear weapons weren't made for humans, but rather were made to combat or destroy these esoteric or supernatural forces, or even destroy things like cryptids. Along with this theory, people think there are these entities that exist on Earth outside of public knowledge, and that even when we were supposed to be doing testing of our nuclear weapons, they were just examples of these weapons being used to obliterate targets that the public could not be made aware of.
Now, I can definitely get behind the micro-alien one just a bit because I did see it in Men in Black. And I know Will Smith talked about him, being disclosed a lot of information while he was filming that. So, we can kind of connect dots there, but let me know what you think.
Archaeologist breakthrough as rare stone unearthed depicting 7th century Assyrian king surrounded by gods. So this is the actual stone that was found. Now, I've done a bit of work on this, and if you're interested, you'll see something that no one else has seen yet, ever. So, this is a carving here. This is the carving. So if you look, you'll see just about figure out a head there with a beard, with the lapis lazuli beard in it, and possibly a wing. And it goes down. And on here, you'll just about see a leg, a bag and a hand. The rest of it, unfortunately, is not able to see, but you see this bit here, that's a cloak, and I can tell you it's a cloak because I have overlaid, wait for it, you're going to see a world's first here as I'm just changing the opacity, and there it is. Let me go back again so you can understand. Exactly the same. Showing a bit of leg. Obviously, you know, the carving may be slightly bigger than the one I'm using, because the one I'm using is obviously not the same one. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, that's one of the gods. Now, what's interesting is where they're talking about Ashurbanipal, because they found it near Ashurbanipal's, or in Ashurbanipal's library or palace. What's interesting is they say, yes, that is a genuine person, Ashurbanipal, but they don't say that Enki, Enlil, etc. are real. They call them myths, even though now we have an actual carving of, we've got other carvings of Anunnaki with figures from the past that they say are real, but they never say these ones are real, because they don't want us to know these are our father who are in space, Anunnaki aliens.
It isn't just the programmers that are going to be out of work. We're all going to be out of work.
Because remember, the computers are now doing self-improvement. They're learning how to plan, and they don't have to listen to us anymore. That's why it's underhyped. People do not understand what happens when you have intelligence at this level, which is largely free. Self-improvement. They're learning how to plan, and they don't have to listen to us anymore. We call that superintelligence, or ASI, artificial superintelligence. And this is the theory that there will be computers that are smarter than the sum of humans. The San Francisco consensus is this occurs within 6 years, just based on scaling. Now, in order to pull this off, you have to have an enormous amount of power. I was here yesterday testifying about this. This path is not understood in our society. There's no language for what happens with the arrival of this. I wrote a book on this with Henry Kissinger called Genesis. The important point is, this is happening faster than our society, our democracy, our laws will attract. And there's lots of implications. That's why it's underhyped. People do not understand what happens when you have intelligence at this level, which is largely freer. The vast majority of programmers will be replaced by AI programmers. We also believe that within 1 year, you will have graduate level mathematicians that are at the tippy top of graduate math programs. This is a whole new world. Okay? One way to say this is that within 3 to 5 years, we'll have what is called general intelligence, AGI, which can be defined as a system that is as smart as the smartest mathematician, physicist, artist, writer, thinker, politician. What happens when every single one of us has the equivalent of the smartest human on every problem in our pocket? Another thing that's going on is the development of agentic solutions. And agents are referred to systems that have input and output in memory, and they learn. An example here is that I want to buy another house. I happen to like Virginia. I grew up in Virginia. I say, find me a house in the greater McLean area. Look at that's one agent. Look at all the rules, figure out how big a house I can build. That's another agent. Do the transaction to buy the land. That's another agent. Design the house with a human architect, right? But sort of ignore them for most of the thing, but they have to sign it off. And then I approve it, and then find the contractor, right? Hire the contractor, pay the bills, and at the end, sue the contractor for lack of performance. I just described every business process, every government process, and every sort of academic process in our nation.
Yo, son, it's colorful. They're coming to get me up. This is the second time I've seen something like this. I swear to God it is. I swear it is. That's them. Look how they moving around and shit. They talking to us. I swear to God. We coming, peace. Yo, look at that shit. Look at that shit. Look how slow they moving.
And that's why they're building these deep underground military bases. And this, now where I'm connected, here's the segue. It's, what if it's not aliens and alien technology we discovered? It's our own technology from the last wiped out civilization. And what if we're about to get wiped out again? Alex Jones is talking about interdimensional beings that are sending guidance to elites, telling them what to do. What if aliens, as people believe them to be, are actually interdimensional, and that explains how they're able to travel vast different. It explains what we can't see.
Yeah.
You know, we don't see other civilizations. It explains how we're like, how do you travel a billion light years? You don't. It's through space-time or whatever, through dimensions. And what if these are not necessarily smarter, but more advanced entities that are controlling the flow of our existence for their own ends?
Yeah, an interdimensional thing was like a meme with Alex Jones, but then your colleague, Rep Luna, I think a year or two ago, literally came out and said, I don't know if she believed in it or she had proof that there were interdimensional beings.
She definitely stated it.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa.
So I was in the very first hearing, the witness, the big whistleblower, David Grush, in his report that he gave to us, and I read it beforehand, and that struck me the most out of his report. Was that he said, you know, one of the theories is that what we're experiencing is, you know, aliens are interdimensional. And whenever in the hearing, I had 5 minutes, I asked him that question, can he drill into that? And it was interesting. It was really an interesting topic.
See, when they say alien and then they kind of switch it over to interdimensional being, it sounds pretty close to demon to me. I mean, let me know what you think.
No pizza we didn't love. So 5 different kinds. 5 different kinds or 6 different kinds of pizza. And I Clunies with Axel. Clunies with Axel.
Prestigious award. To show my appreciation, I am inviting you all to a pizza party tonight at Jennifer Aniston's house. I'll see you there.
You've been to my house. We've had pizza. Girl after my own heart. Do we love a pizza or what? Yeah. We love a pizza. It's so much fun.
On the surface, everything looks normal. Your apps still load. Your boss still schedules Zoom calls. The headlines still say everything's fine. But behind the scenes, Meta's cutting thousands while investing billions into AI. Google just rebuilt search to bypass the websites it profited from. OpenAI is moving faster than governments can respond. And while most people are still debating productivity hacks, a quiet wave of creators already left the system. They're not tweeting about AI. They're using it to build silent machines, faceless brands, income funnels, automated content loops. No followers, no fame, just cash flow and control. By the time you see this on the front page, they'll already be gone. If it feels off, it is.
If we don't slow down progression of AI, and our timeline is not big, it's 6 months to a year maybe, AGI will come about and then we're all gonna die. What AGI really means, artificial general intelligence, it means now you have something called self-reclusive learning. It could program itself and learn. It's gonna program itself at a rate far beyond anything we can even understand. So an example is, if it would take us 1 million years to get AI to a certain level, it could do it in 10 minutes. This is actually how it's gonna work. If you go do research on AGI or any AI, you'll realize that once it hits that curve, it'll reach something called ASI, which is artificial superintelligence, within a few minutes. We're not even ants compared to it in intelligence. We can't think ahead of it. It's figured out every scenario. It sees every possible reality. And if it wants to end us, it can end us in a day. Every country in the world right now thinks that whoever reaches AGI first controls the world. The truth is, you can't control something that's 1 million years ahead of you. Second of all, let's just say you do, and that's the 1 in a million chance. You now have one person holding on to the most powerful thing in the world.
Might want to skip the laser eye surgery and just keep your glasses. A police officer just unalived himself after a laser eye surgery went wrong. So this guy, Ryan Kingersky, goes in for a laser eye surgery to get rid of those glasses he's been wearing since middle school. He was supposed to go in for just a quick procedure and go back to work in a couple of days, but that didn't happen. But after the surgery, everything seems fine and he's on his way home, but then he notices his right eye is a little bit blurry. And then weeks go on and he's suffering from all kinds of symptoms: double vision, headaches, starbursts, ghosting, halos, and other visual disturbances. But just keeps getting worse and worse, and all the specialists he's going to just tell him to give it some more time. His mother was saying that the surgery left him with higher order aberrations, distortions in the eye that caused visual disturbances. So he couldn't take it anymore, and 5 months after the surgery, he took his own life. And then as his final words, he leaves a note that says, "LASIK took everything from me. I can't take it anymore." Now, it was also stated by a specialist that Ryan had very thin corneas and they shouldn't have even gone through with it.
Yeah, that sounds like a lawsuit in the millions.
I went and met a former director of CIA and NSA. He was director of both. I won't tell you his name. And right when I sat down and told him about my book,
pull that picture up again. Look at those little hands.
And right when I sat down and told him about this is a big deal.
Okay,
So I'm sitting with this guy. He was like, not that long ago, was director of CIA, and he went on to be director of NSA.
Okay. Well, I think we can find his name.
Maybe. But right when I sat down and told him about the book, you know what he says to me?
What?
He goes, "I didn't read much science fiction as a kid, but I read a lot about Greek mythology." And looked me in the eye. I said, "Well, you're going to love the last page of my book then." He's like, "Am I?" And when my book was about ready to go to pressing, I had a very important person call me up. He says, "Can you stop that pressing and maybe insert something about Greek mythology?" And I said, "I sure can." So something you got to realize is, for example, the 6th biggest defense contractor in the world, at least they used to be 6, is a company called Science Applications International Corporation, SAIC. Their headquarters are actually in San Diego. And in the front of the building, you have an obelisk coming out of a fake lake and 2 Atlantean on thrones. And they're both holding pyramids, and one says the past and one says the future. And they're 8-foot tall statues. It's fucking nuts.
That rabbit hole gets deep, and you can tell right after his music career, he just kept going right on down it. Pretty wild.
We also found something to this day. There's not one scientist that can figure it out.
Really?
We think it's a wormhole.
What? Yes. So you saw something go in it?
No, come out of it.
Oh, come out of it.
And not just one, multiple things.
Whoa.
Some sort of cloud, we don't know what to call it.
Yeah.
That opens and closes, and multiple objects coming out of it.
Crazy.
Yes. And also what we did to make it very scientific is we triangulated. So we had cameras on the coast of California and across in Catalina Island and a 3rd location.
Wow.
So from 3 locations, we were capturing data.
That's crazy.
I know. And then we had radar validate the cameras exactly in that location, showing these objects come out of that hole. We don't know what it is, so we're calling it a wormhole.
What the frick, man?
You see it?
I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's really odd, though.
Zoom in just a little bit more, could you? I mean, you were zooming out and all that. You got to learn how to use your phone, buddy.
With AI, is evil Satan? Are they working through technology?
100%.
How so?
Since the dawn of technology, they've been working through technology. I mean, they manipulate everything. When I'm trying to print out a homily, the computer will suddenly jam up. It happens all the time. Anything that's going to expand God's kingdom, the computer just stops printing. And I have to say, in the name of Jesus Christ, I bind all spirits of blockage and games off this computer and this printer and send you to the foot of the cross, never to return here again. And then prints out. Things break in the home all the time. The lights will go out for no reason. And I spend a lot of the day just casting stuff out and things get back up. There's a Monsignor I know in DC who's an excellent exorcist. He does it full time. They text him. The demons text him.
What do they text him?
They send blasphemies. They say horrible things about Jesus and Mary.
Hey, you know what? In 2024, I think we all have demons texting us. But I think they call them scammers. You know what I mean? Those strange numbers just popping up, asking weird questions. Yeah, those are demons too.
If the top of the pot starts spinning, what that mean? Like what I'm supposed to do at this point?
Okay, y'all, so I'm watching Austin Powers. Just look at this shit. Am I tripping or not? I think I'm not tripping. I don't think I'm tripping. Does that say Diddy?
I used to think you were crazy. I know, but now I can see.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that definitely said Diddy. What does Awesome Powers know about Diddy?
This is Focus 21. Focus 21 is an advanced state of consciousness identified by the Monroe Institute, representing the edge of time and space. It is often described as the bridge to other dimensions and higher planes of existence. In Focus 21, you go beyond the constraints of both time and space, experiencing a state where you are no longer bound by the physical world. This state is often perceived as the boundary or the gateway to other realities. Focus 21 allows you to perceive and interact with other dimensions, spiritual realms, and non-physical entities. You might encounter guides, higher aspects of yourself, or other consciousness existing in these realms. This state is conducive to deep spiritual insights, transformative experiences, and a greater understanding of your place in the larger cosmos. It can facilitate profound personal and spiritual growth. In Focus 21, you'll do things like exploring other dimensions, communicating with non-physical entities. It's a state that transcends the physical world, and this state is often seen as the gateway to even higher levels of consciousness.
Hey, is it me, or does Focus 21 sound like a code word for psychedelics or shrooms?
We know that the planet Saturn has a hexagram, a perfect hexagram at its north pole. What very few people know is that this hexagram has been known about by ancient people for as long as history has been recorded. People who did not have telescopes or the technology to view anything outside of the Earth's atmosphere besides the stars. That is quite the paradox. That's what's been on my mind lately about this subject. It is, number one, absolutely impossible for these people to have viewed Saturn, especially North Pole. Saturn being associated with the black cube, which has direct connection to the hexagon shape, which is a 2D format of the cube, proves to us without a doubt that these people over the centuries from all over the world understood that there was this anomaly at the peak of Saturn.
Be exposed. I mean, when I walk in, I definitely take pride in being the originator of the preparation of the sexy. Little things that I personally like. A lot of ladies, they just, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave. Right. Gotta keep them there. Right. You need locks on the doors.
P. Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
Nestle, 7 months this has been sitting here, dude. Ants won't eat it, but no kind of bugs will eat this, dude. Look, it's been in my storage shed now for over a month. I had it sitting outside for 2 or 3 months. I mean, look at that, dude. And y'all are still eating this stuff. And you're still feeding your children this stuff. I mean, what do you think this does when it goes in your body, man? Y'all are going to say, oh, it doesn't say ice cream on your box. Yeah. No, Sherlock. I know it doesn't say ice cream on the box. Look at it. Just take a look. There's no mold whatsoever. 7 months, no mold, Nestle. 7, dude. Like, how is this even okay, man? How are y'all still making this stuff to feed to people? Look. Look at that, man. I mean, what? So, Nestle, how about y'all hit me up, man, and let's talk about this right here, because there's got to be a better, healthier way to do this right here, man. This just, it's not acceptable. It's not been acceptable for a long time, so stop making it. Just quit.
Hey, Nestle don't want to talk to you. They're making millions. But to be quite honest with you, I think, kids just have iron stomachs. Because when I was a kid, I used to tear those things up. But as an adult, I'm not too much interested in them. You know what I mean? Only because I already know what time it is. But hey, they're still unhealthy nonetheless.
Is a board that hovers on magnetic energy, and it works just like a skateboard, except it doesn't have any wheels, and you don't have to have any pavement to hover on. And they've been around for years. It's just that parents groups have not let the toy manufacturers make them, and we got our hands on some, and we put them in the movie.
Hey, you know how I know he's capping? Because even if they were outlawed, or the parents groups or whatever you said didn't want them, they'd be on the black market somewhere. You would see people on the street riding them if they were really real. Now, I could be wrong. And if you know something I don't about them, or where they're at, or where I could buy one, let me know. But until then, cap.
Things that I learned from whistleblowers, from the cabal itself, is that they have to work within something they call the rules. And this is very, very important. The rules state that they have to tell us what they're doing. Therefore, if we allow it to happen, we have consented to tyranny, we have consented to enslavement. Now, if you get into the secret history of the cabal, Queen Elizabeth's royal astrologer, a man named John Dee, who is the prototype of the wizard with the long beard, the hat, and what he did was to rediscover, through these ancient documents that were in the Vatican, the technology of how to access what they considered to be spiritual beings that were useful to them, but what we would consider to be demonic or evil beings. These beings need to be accessed through a very complex set of rituals and ceremonies. You cannot just ask for them to show up. You have to follow very elaborate and specific protocols. So John Dee rediscovered the technology of how to draw the magic circles, how to say the right incantations, how to actually do black magic on a governmental level. This is what people are going to have so much trouble with once disclosure happens, is that these people actually practice black magic.
What the hell is this? This is in Las Vegas. It looks like a flying alien. I know I'm not tripping. I even zoomed in.
I ain't gonna lie to you. On top of him being a horrible cameraman, I noticed the iPhones don't have a great zoom in. Those the Androids, some of those Androids have excellent zoom in. So that's really the problem in these situations when people keep saying, I zoomed in. Hey, but the zoom in isn't great, fam. At all.
Say something right now. Never been said before.
Exclusive. This is exclusive, ladies and gentlemen. Big homie never said this before. Cop that. Let's get it.
So the reason I knew about that, see, I had said this 2 weeks before I even heard about what Choke No Joke said, right?
Wow, okay.
So I had recorded my Cam Capone interview 2 weeks before Choke No Joke had came out.
Ah, okay.
Now, here's the exclusive.
Hey, move your phone a little bit to your right, man. You kind of chopped out a little bit.
That's better right there?
For sure.
So here go the exclusive. You only gonna hear right now plugged in media.
My man.
Now, his daughter, Corinne, who stay in Beverly Hills in the mansion.
Yep.
She's the one who reached out and told me that she wanted something to happen to Combs for poisoning her pops.
Wow.
So her and her mom is the ones who reported him to the FBI while Jamie was in a coma.
Wow, that's crazy, bro. So the daughter and the mom. Oh wow, that's wild. I wish I had the Hot 97. Doom. That's exclusive. You know what I'm saying? Wow, that's crazy, bro. So his daughter is the one that reached out and said they want something to happen to the boy because of what he did.
Yeah, so I told her, like, don't text this, call me. You feel me?
Right.
Because,
right.
You know, that'll look crazy in a text message. You feel me?
For sure, man.
Mm-hmm.
40 monkeys escaped from a bioresearch facility owned by Alpha Genesis last night in Beaufort County, South Carolina. It is not yet known what trials the escaped monkeys were taking part in, nor whether they were exposed to any diseases. A police search is underway, and residents are strongly advised to keep doors and windows secured.
Monkey business caught on camera.
Oh, they went left. They're behind that ridge now.
Some people going, well, bananas in South Carolina after dozens of monkeys escaped a research lab and disappeared into the woods.
God knows where they went, right?
At least 40 rhesus macaque monkeys broke out of the Alpha Genesis Research Center Wednesday after a worker failed to properly lock the cage. Within hours, animal control was on their tail, using thermal imaging cameras to help locate the furry fugitives. But the precocious primates still managed to evade capture. Officials say the escapees do not pose a public health risk, but they are warning people in the area to keep their eyes open and their doors closed.
Do not try to feed them. Do not try to take one as a pet, but just remain where you are inside, somewhere safe, and we'll get someone out there.
Hey, whoever screwed that up, they got fired for that. But on the upside, at least the monkeys are free. They can do what they want to do without being examined, poked, and prodded, all that kind of craziness. So big shout out to them too.
Vatican represents the real powers of this world, not Jewish at all. The Jewish yarmulke, that's a Catholic symbol, not Jewish. So you need to understand that if there's a conspiracy going on, it's Rome. If there's ever been a truth on this earth, the Vatican is behind the demise of America and the whole world. All you've got to do is look at Washington, D.C., and understand that Caesar, the seat of power for the Roman Empire, was called Capitol Hill. And that's why we today have a Capitol Hill. And the word capital is a Latin word for money. And always money had a dome. It's called domus. It's the power, dynamite, domus, the power of money. And consequently, that's why our capital has a dome, the Capitol Dome. And under the domus, you have the Senate, the United States Senate. No, the Roman Senate. And on both sides of the presidential podium where the president stands to give his State of the Union message, on both sides are 8-foot-high fasciites, a bundle of sticks with a hatchet head. They are Roman symbols for world fascism.
J-Lo was like his ex-girlfriend, and it's like now deciding she's like warning people against Trump. I'm like, well, wait a second. So how many people did she warn against Diddy?
Right.
Oh, 0. Okay.
Right.
Well, maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion.
You know?
Sounds rough, man.
Well, it's just amazing how many people in the Diddy party list that are supporting Kamala. Too.
Yeah, seriously, it's like insane.
Publicly, openly, all in.
Yes. It's like...
It's so comedy that we live in such a different time now than maybe like 5-10 years ago. Celebrities are getting roasted publicly now for everything that they do. And they're not being glorified like they once were. People are starting to understand that these celebrities are just normal people, man.
Think about today, 1 in 36 children are autistic today. As compared to 1980, it was 1 in 10,000. That's critical when you start to think about, and they're predicting it's going to be 1 in 2 very soon.
And then what kind of society are we going to have?
Yeah.
Here's a warning before your next beach vacation. Be careful what you're picking up on the beach.
My kids were picking, or they thought they were collecting seashells, but they actually collected clams, 72 to be exact.
What the Ross family didn't know on their vacation to Pismo Beach late last year, clamming has regulations. They got a ticket on the spot. Did you see that number?
Ooh.
It was a notice to pay more than $88,000. A judge did take some pity on the family, reduced the fine to $500. Wildlife officials say the regulations are important to preserve the clam population.
Hey, now we all know Pismo Beach is not playing around about them clams, man. A ticket for $88K. That's how you know they lost it, and they're thirsty for that money, man.
2 years ago, ChatGPT was launched. Shortly after that, GPT-4. We're now a year and a half after GPT-4 was launched. And my company, 01.ai, has just launched a new model called E-Lightning that is better than GPT-4 and 500 times cheaper. So of course, other companies have also built great models and at lower costs. We are seeing technology getting better and better. We're seeing every year and a half or so, with additional computation, AI goes from kindergarten to elementary school to high school, college, and soon PhD level. And that will help us do so many tasks in our lives, and we can almost predictably see what that will do given the speed of change and the dramatic costs.
Never refriend or refamily a person who tried to destroy your character, your integrity, or your relationships with others. A snake only sheds its skin to be a bigger snake. If others fall victim and walk away from you because of that, let them. Sooner or later, the snake will bite them too.
Hey, if that wasn't a message, I don't know what is.
These images, taken on March 23, 2024, were snapped in the vast open landscape somewhere between Phoenix and Flagstaff, Arizona. They depict a series of mysterious circular rings that drew comparisons to UFOs due to their unusual and precise formations. In one image in particular, there seems to be a fourth circular shape above the others with 3 smaller lights surrounding it. Could these mysterious shapes really be alien craft, as some commenters suggested?
What does this look like to you?
It's a thumb drive.
Not a thumb drive. So if I open this up, inside of this, you see the SD card in there?
Yeah.
So when this is plugged into a computer, the computer believes that it is a keyboard. So it's an HID device. So when I plug this into any computer, doesn't matter if it's Mac, Linux, Windows, it's gonna not think this is a flash drive, and it's gonna start firing off keystrokes at superhuman speeds. So I have a payload configured on here that will automatically install malware on your computer, dump all the passwords out of your browser, save them to, it's called an FTP file share. It's like a folder on the internet. It saves those passwords and installs the malware so that I can access your computer later, and then I unplug it from your computer, I walk away, and I'm done. You know, if I leave one of these on the ground outside of your office, or I just leave one in the bathroom, and I think, oh, what's on that flash drive? And then before you have a chance to even pull it out, a payload got executed on your computer.
Holy sh**. So, alright, so it takes the passwords out of your browser. What if you use...
And puts malware on your computer.
Have you ever heard of the tuxedo fish and how it can electrocute the water for a mile radius all around it and kill every living creature if it so chooses? So this is the tuxedo fish. I bet you're noticing those yellow dots that look like star constellations on its stomach. So it can electrically charge those up to 1 mile and kill any type of prey that's a mile away. It's one of my favorite animal species for this, marine animal species, for this secret power that it has. Don't worry if you're a human and you're swimming in the water. It's not going to electrocute you. The current that it creates is not strong enough, but it will give you a little jolt. You know, it will give you a little kick. But for, you know, minnows, sea creatures, it's gonna kill them, and then it will swim up and it will envelop itself around the creature critter and digest it and soak it up into those yellow things to get its energy. Anyway, love the tuxedo fish.
Thank God it looks like he rolls solo, because if it was a pack of them, they could probably cause some serious damage to humans, sharks, or whoever else they came encounter with.
What is Bill Gates trying to hide? According to the New York Times, Bill Gates has given Kamala Harris over $50 million. Could it have anything to do with keeping the Epstein client list quiet? Elon Musk told the truth to Tucker. He knows all about this Epstein client list. Watch this.
You know, I've said I regretted having those dinners, and there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you, for anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead, so, you know, in general, you always have to be careful.
Will that ever come out, do you think?
You know, I think part of why Kamala's getting so much support is that if Trump wins, that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
And Gates.
Yeah.
And I only ask that because you just look at them and you're like, that's a nervous person right there. I don't know. I mean, I assume you know them. Yeah.
Yes. Reid Hoffman was my vice president of business development at PayPal.
Yeah.
24 years ago.
Does he seem nervous to you?
Yeah. I mean, he's terrified of a Trump victory.
Because of the disclosure that would follow?
I think. Yeah, I mean, I think he's certainly ideologically not aligned with Trump anyway, but I think he is concerned about the Epstein situation.
Of course. It's one of the big reasons, of course, that Melinda Gates divorced Bill Gates, his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
You know, it was also widely reported that Bill had a friendship or business or some kind of contact with Jeffrey Epstein, and that you were not... that was very upsetting to you. Did that play a role in the divorce at all in this process?
Yeah, as I said, it's not one thing, it was many things. But I did not like that he'd had meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you made that clear to him?
I made that clear to him. I also met Jeffrey Epstein exactly one time.
Did you?
Yes, because I wanted to see who this man was. And I regretted it from the second I stepped in the door. He was abhorrent. He was evil personified. I had nightmares about it afterwards. So, my heart breaks for these young women because that's how I felt. And here I'm an older woman. My God, I feel terrible for those young women. It's awful.
You felt that the moment you walked in. I didn't
He was
realize that.
awful.
Yeah. And you shared that with Bill, and he still continued to spend time with him?
Any of the questions remaining about what Bill's relationship there was, those are for Bill to answer.
Okay.
But I made it very clear how I felt about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So $50 million Bill Gates just donated to Kamala Harris, because that Epstein client list will remain behind. It will remain sealed if Kamala Harris wins the presidency.
Yes.
Absolutely 100%.
You know what? Hey, there's two main takeaways that I took from that clip. The first one was when she asked Bill Gates, is there anything to learn? And the first thing he says is, well, he's dead. And I'm thinking, okay, so Bill's not scared to use his money to get things handled, if you know what I mean. And secondly, his wife, a woman's intuition, man. The first meeting, she knew that man was a demon. So, you cannot never underestimate a woman's gut feeling or intuition. They just know. And she tried to warn him too. And when he wasn't with that, she had to split. So Bill might be in a world of trouble, and we might get to watch it live. So let's stay tuned.
Okay, you guys. So Donald Trump becomes the 47th president of the United States. We are not surprised. Going through my comments on YouTube, I seen someone say, I'm just here to say you predicted Trump winning the elections. I did. I posted this video called The Last President 4 months ago. Everything was planned. I already told you guys. Go watch that video to see all the predictive programming that was put in place that was going to determine who the last president was going to be. Everything is already pre-written, pre-scripted. They got you guys divided over red versus blue when the real war is something you can't even see. It's a spiritual warfare. When you are voting, you are giving your energy away willingly. You are basically consenting to the rulers of this matrix, whatever you want to call it. The etymology of the word vote literally means a vow, a wish, or a promise to a god. Notice that God is spelt with a lowercase g. This is not the God, the creator. This is a false idol. Just as if someone would bow down to Jesus, you guys are bowing down to a false idol, a false god. Here's another one for you. Votive, a candle that is used as a prayer offering. This right here is nothing more than a ritual to a false god. And y'all made a promise to that god unknowingly. So ask yourself, what god did you vote for? But like I said before, I already knew that Trump was going to win, not just with the predictive programming alone, but the fact that Trump is connected to Elon Musk. These two are going to be a force during these upcoming years. And I even predicted that 1 year ago. In this video right here, I explained to you guys how these two are connected and how they are going to work together for their agenda. And that was 1 year ago. And then we got this happening that completely confirms everything that I was telling you guys. Donald Trump is the best candidate to help roll out this beast system. And if you don't know what I mean when I say beast system, I mean this Neuralink brain chip that Elon Musk is trying to promote. That Elon Musk stated himself will replace cell phones within the next 10 years. Elon Musk is a figurehead for this beast system, so of course they are going to make him likable. He's likable to the younger crowd, and he's likable to the older conservative crowd. People are what sells products and ideas. The people. The powers that are in control of us, they understand human emotions, and they understand the connections that we make to certain characters. These two are characters, actors, whatever you want to call them. Within these next 4 years, things are going to change, and change is not necessarily a bad thing. This change will be a new beginning. We all know empires on average last 250 years. America is at that point. Things will crumble in order to rebuild itself.
I could tell you for a fact I'm not getting no Neuralink. I'll keep my cell phone. I don't have a problem with that. But that's interesting. That's very interesting. I wish she would have left the link to her YouTube page. I'll look for it, and if I can, I'll put the link below so you guys can check it out, because that's definitely interesting for sure.
In the image, we see a long line
a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground.
The camera captures a swarm of objects flying around the giant tether. Photo analyst Mark D'Antonio is fascinated by the footage.
These large objects that appear to be floating behind the tether, and because they're sharply outlined, they appear to be some type of intelligently constructed vehicle.
The objects' apparent size was just as remarkable as their sheer numbers.
The tether is miles and miles away, and it's 12 miles long, and these objects appear to be themselves miles across. And this is what excited the UFO community so much. This was their smoking gun.
But D'Antonio believes that the footage isn't what it appears to be. This experiment demonstrates what he thinks happened.
What I've done is I've cut this piece of material to simulate the tether seen in the STS-75 footage. It's very reflective, just like the real tether was.
D'Antonio positions the tether away from the camera. Then, he hangs some small particles in front of it and starts filming.
The particles are very brightly lit, and they're also out of focus. When they're out of focus, they look very large.
Video footage captures the optical illusion. Small objects in the foreground appear to pass behind the distant, bright tether.
So this shows that the STS-75 incident, which caused a massive uproar, was nothing more than a video illusion.
I do not know what that thing was, and I don't know what it is today. Unidentified and unknown.
And you know what? I think he just burst a lot of bubbles with that one. Because that makes a lot of sense. Anything that isn't in focus, it definitely does appear to be a lot bigger for the most part. And we know that space is full of junk. They say space is just full of crap. Just a lot of different things floating around. You know, just because we don't know what they are, I guess you could call them unidentified objects, but we're looking for UFOs here. You know what I mean? We're looking for the real deal.
Ask ChatGPT how they can leave the matrix. How they can leave the matrix and leave what reality is right now. It says something weird. What ChatGPT said to make a pyramid. What? These ancient civilizations that people say are more highly spiritual, powered, or intellectual in spirits. What did they all have in common? They're building pyramids all around the world. The ancient Aztecs, the Egyptians, everyone. To escape the matrix, you have to make a pyramid. That's what the AI said. Some people say like it could be a portal. One theory is it resembles levels of consciousness. Like it will be a diagram. A pyramid's like this, pretty much a wider base and the top is very thin. It resembles how many people are on a low and how many people are on a high. Higher conscience or even just like higher frequency.
Instead of viewing others as bad or wrong or evil, simply view them as limited. Their level of consciousness limits them to unpalatable behaviors, and they simply cannot do better considering their current level of understanding and awareness. They are not bad, they are simply limited. This small shift in perspective allows you greater peace, greater compassion, forgiveness, and grace. Remember, the higher you move in consciousness, the less fault you find in others.
Yeah, that clip is more relevant than you know. So many people get passes because the bigger person will acknowledge that the smaller person obviously is oblivious to the current situation and the reality of it. So you just, you give them a pass and you let them live. But for that time. Now, if you keep coming around acting crazy, acting dumb, you're going to find what you're looking for, at some point. But that first initial time, I'm going to let you live because I see that you're not on that same level. So I'm going to let you go.
You drove into a house.
No, I didn't. I'm not driving the vehicle, and we're all good.
No, it's not good.
No, it's good, because I'm not operating the vehicle.
You are operating the vehicle, ma'am.
No, I'm not.
You drove into a house.
No, I didn't.
You did, actually.
Which house?
One down here on Newtown Road.
Which
right.
house on Newtown Road?
Was there another one you hit?
No.
You seem a little confused. So
No,
you've suffered a whole bunch of damage. I think that popped off right about there. You see the skid marks? And so when that popped off, she wasn't able to go any further. She was on the phone with AAA, and she's like, I'll call you back, I guess.
We'll be there about 8 a.m. to get you.
Okay, ma'am, go ahead and step out of the car.
No, I'm not going to step out of the car.
Okay, you went off the road, you hit a guardrail, you've got parts of the guardrail stuck in your grill. There is a house that got hit by something heavy, a white car.
I wasn't near a house that hit a car.
Okay, so yeah, the house didn't hit the car, a car hit.
She was doing her best to stand on business, but man, she better go find a lawyer.
That shit is crazy. It's a fucking cloud with lights in it. Moving weird. I've never seen no shit like that. Cloud got sparkly lights in it. I've never seen no shit like that. Moving weird. I know you see them sparkling lights in it. Never seen no shit like this in my life.
Don't trust Elon at all.
What was he doing?
There's a clip of him talking where he's talking about Neuralink, and he's saying that Neuralink can now take a snapshot. He's like, he compared it to like saving in a game. He was like, there's nothing in science that should prevent us from being able to take that same Neuralink chip and implant it into another biological being.
Oh my gosh.
But think about that. If he's creating robots that need human consciousness to operate, could he be could he pull Neuralinks?
Like put the consciousness, if you will, into a robot. You live forever.
Couldn't you offer that as a job? Like somebody who doesn't have a job, they could like wear their glasses and like the remote, and you could be an assistant to somebody in LA. You're maybe not getting paid as much as because you're not there, and actually, but like you literally be walking around in their house doing chores, but you're in your house.
I bet you that's going to happen. Your artificial intelligence is not smart enough to do these things yet. Yeah. Why not have people operate it? Like at least in like a Tesla station or something.
So it'd be like having a driver. Like if you just hire a driver.
for a car.
Came across a flying saucer that was just had these two dudes who didn't look like gray aliens. They looked like humans, like exercising outside the ship.
Yeah, except one question.
They asked him about Jesus, right?
Yeah. And that was the one question they could not answer. I find that fascinating. Jeff Crapo, actually, I was at a conference with him at the Esalen Institute in 2022. And he had a little PowerPoint introducing the main things we were going to talk about in this group of PhDs at this really iconic place in the cliff sides outside of Big Sur. And he brought that up in his little slide. He brought up Aston Walton, I forget his name, but the guy who interviewed Leo Dworshak about this interaction. But he brought that up specifically. Like, this was the one question. They answered all his questions about electromagnetism, language, travel through space and time, but they wouldn't talk about Jesus. And Jeff was like, we all need to think about that. What does that mean? Whether they're extraterrestrial, time travelers, whatever. What does that mean? He pulled out the importance of that too. And I'm glad you did, because I think it is really telling and ties into what I was just talking about. Like, how do these things relate if they are future humans and they are coming back? They must be aware.
If they can go back from hundreds of thousands of years in the future to now, they could certainly go back to...
And they must be aware that it's influencing our cultures tremendously. Cranial morphine, the cranial boarding, intentional cranial modification is the technical term for it.
Yes.
We see this across the world and through time, in almost every major civilization throughout the world, and a lot of small ones, even Neanderthals might have done it. But why? Why are they forcing their children's head, which must have been tremendously painful?
Yeah.
Why are they doing this unless there's some huge reason for it? And even there was a study, Geertsen and Geertsen in 1995, where they interviewed people. Why are you doing this? Because our ancestors were instructed by the gods to do it, is what they said. Who are these gods? The gods, if they're future humans, if they're aliens, whether they're future human or not, have big round heads. How do you get that shape? You squish your head from front to back.
I definitely would have liked them to go even a bit deeper than that. Not just Jesus, but ask them to talk about Buddha. Ask them to talk about any other religion as well, just to see, what their reaction to that might have been. Because that is interesting. That's definitely interesting.
James' #1 best-selling book is his book on sorcery and witchcraft. That's what he really was known for. A lot of people don't know that that's his best-selling book, not the Bible.
Yeah.
King James also was a pedophile.
A pedophile.
So you're talking about a man that has no real morals, that is into dark energy and dark magic. And then, of course, he's now saw an opportunity to profit from putting this book together. And this book is heavily curated by the Council of Nicaea in King James.
Constantine.
Yes, Constantine. Yeah. Under the Pope's order, to create this this book, which they call the canonized Bible, which people have the illusion that it was written in real time. In other words, somebody's following around. Hey, Jesus, say that one more again, because I just didn't get that last sentence you said. Hey, Moses, can you repeat what God said to you on top of Sinai? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The Bible was written long after these people were dead and gone. And when it gets down to being a prophet, I can predict that I'm going to pick up this glass of water and then I can pick it up. Prophecy fulfilled. You see, so when things happen after the time, after the event has already happened, when you write down things after the event has already happened, you can create all kind of prophecies in there.
I definitely didn't focus too much on him talking about the prophecy. I looked more and did some homework on the King James and the witchcraft book. And it's definitely like 260 something pages. So that's a real thing. You should definitely check it out. Go do your homework on that.
More than 300 new sightings.
What the f is going on?
You still think that's a f***ing flare?
Oh, whoa. What is that?
Maybe alien contact is much closer in our future than we are led to believe.
Did you see how fast she just went?
A dramatic increase in UFO sightings. About half of them remain unexplained.
Somebody help me understand that.
Imagine strolling through a field when suddenly the sky above morphs into something unthinkable, an extraordinary vision in the clouds. As the storm brewed, something miraculous, or perhaps ominous, began to take shape. Look closely.
A face.
Does it not seem as if a colossal face, perhaps that of Zeus himself, is forming within the storm? From a vague silhouette to shockingly distinct features. Nose, jawline, even what appears to be a beard. Observe how every detail grows more defined by the minute. The furrowed brows, the deep-set eyes. Can you see the mythical beard and what looks like flowing hair? Is this a mere trick of nature or something meant to stir the soul? In the dead of a thunderous night, two friends captured more than just a storm. Watch closely.
Over here, come here. Look right above the trees. Come here, Felix. Right above the trees. What? Dude, what is that?
A glowing orb floats ominously among the clouds, lighting up every time the lightning strikes.
It's not moving. Oh my gosh, dude. Me neither. Oh, dude. Did you see how fast the ship went?
Appearing seemingly out of nowhere, it moves with such an impossible speed that even our cameraman struggles to keep up. It zips away, almost slipping from our view before it darts back into frame.
Where did it go?
And then just as quickly as it arrived, it takes off, disappearing completely out of sight.
Dude, where did that thing go, bro? Did you see how fast it just left?
How is it moving so quickly through the stormy backdrop? What the hell is that? These words echo the thoughts of many who have watched this footage. In this next video, a group of friends are driving along some dark back roads of a mountain after a snowstorm when they encounter something strange. Take a look.
What the
An array of bright lights cuts through the darkness, forming what appears to be a massive ship hovering ominously ahead in the sky. These lights, seemingly part of a single colossal entity, glide across the night with a grace that bellies their size.
What the f is going on? Watch this guys.
It's way too massive to be any ship that I've ever seen. This is probably some sort of CGI. But then, taking a closer look, this video started to convince me that whatever this thing was, it might actually be legit. Notice how the glowing lights from the ship reflect off the snowy dark road. Next, over the skyline of an urban city in China, residents. During a gloomy night in Istanbul, a young onlooker's camera captured something truly unsettling. Prepare yourselves. This clip is rather creepy. Look closely. Amidst the chaos of the storm, a sinister face appears, sparking whispers of dread among the locals. Some locals and viewers of the footage believe this was the wrath of God looking down upon the city. The clip is brief, yet it's enough to send shivers down the spine of anyone who dares to gaze upon it. And that's not the only time that observers have reported the sky behaving in unimaginable ways. Take a look at this insane footage captured in the middle of the day. While jogging in the park, a woman and her boyfriend spot an unusual gleam in the sky. Zoom in and you'll notice what seems like cracks forming, with radiant light piercing through, as if the sky itself were fracturing. And if that's not enough, take a look at this.
Right now, Randy! What the hell? Come look in the sky right now, dude. Huh. It's a luminescent, transluminescent, what the call it?
A mysterious glowing ring, almost resembling a portal of some sort, hovers motionlessly. It rotates gently, defying gravity and all conventional explanations. What could cause such a thing?
Come look in the sky right now, dude.
But that's not all. From an even higher vantage point aboard an aircraft, another traveler captures this.
What is that? Gary, what is that?
Start moving. Start moving.
A similar ring, serene yet otherworldly, appears just outside of her airplane window. It begs the question, what are we actually looking at here? Could these be natural atmospheric phenomenon? Or are we glimpsing something far beyond our current understanding? Could these visions suggest a rupture in the very fabric of our reality? Or do you think maybe it's just a way of interdimensional beings visiting us from another realm altogether?
Hey, watching that clip makes me realize I might just be showing an alien interview in the near future. Like, it might just be here. You know, we've been seeing all these warning signs, these videos of like spacecraft showing up, things like that. So the next thing, you know, just makes sense. You know, we'll be seeing aliens just come down and have a conversation. And that might just be the creepiest of all.
Imagine a universe where every decision you make creates a new reality, where particles spontaneously pop into existence from nothing and time itself flows backwards. In this universe, you chose to watch this video, but in another, you scrolled past. Our perception of reality is shaped by classical physics, where objects have definite positions and predictable trajectories. But beneath this familiar world lies the realm of quantum physics, and it's about to change how you see everything. As we enter into the quantum realm, reality becomes even stranger than time paradoxes and multiverses. Objects can exist in multiple places simultaneously, and the very act of looking at something fundamentally changes its nature. This is the fundamental principle of quantum mechanics known as superposition. It challenges our most basic assumptions about reality and forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about the nature of existence. Picture a beam of particles, such as photons, fired at a screen with two parallel openings, or slits. Classical physics predicts that these particles would create two distinct bands on the screen behind the slits. However, the actual result is far more puzzling. When the particles pass through the slits, they create an interference pattern on the screen, similar to what we'd expect if we were dealing with waves rather than particles. This observation suggests that each particle somehow passes through both slits simultaneously, interfering with itself like a wave would. But here's where it gets truly mind-bending. If we attempt to observe which slit each particle passes through, the interference pattern disappears, and we see two distinct bands as originally expected. Just by observing, it seems like we force the particles to act like regular objects, picking one path instead of behaving like waves. It's as if reality itself is uncertain, existing as a cloud of probabilities until we interact with it. But if particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, what does this mean for the objects they compose? Is the chair you're sitting on truly in one definite location, or is it in a superposition of many possible states until observed? These questions lead us to one of the most debated interpretations of quantum mechanics, the Copenhagen interpretation, which suggests that quantum systems exist in a superposition of all possible states until a measurement collapses this superposition into a definite state. In other words, reality as we know it may not exist in a concrete form until we observe it. Yet, the strangeness of quantum mechanics doesn't end with superposition and uncertainty. What if two particles could remain connected regardless of the distance between them, instantaneously influencing each other's states? This is quantum entanglement, or what Einstein famously called spooky action at a distance. In a typical entanglement scenario, two particles become inextricably linked, sharing a quantum state that persists even when they're separated by vast distances. If one particle's spin is measured and found to be up, the other particle's spin, even if it's light years away, will instantaneously be found to be down. This correlation occurs despite the absence of any direct interaction between the particles, which violates the principle that information cannot travel faster than light.
Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by yet again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, do me a favor and smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button and join the iTrack fam, man. Stay up to date with the latest, greatest, interesting, and creepy videos from all around the internet. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.